I'm Doraine, and our class today is going to work the outer hips. And if you have ever struggled with sciatica, where it feels like this muscle at the back of the hip and maybe some sensation down the leg, the movements in this class are movements that you would find in physical therapy, recovery type class for sciatic issues. So just know that that's available. It doesn't mean that if you don't have sciatica that this isn't a great class, because I think it is. You will need 2 blocks if you have them. If you don't have blocks, find a couple of good thick books, a blanket, and either a chair or a stool. Either one will work. All right, take a moment right here. You're probably already seated, so let your eyes be soft or let them close, and simply find your breath. Give yourself a moment to land here. Feel the breath moving in and out. And then let your eyes flutter open. And we will begin lying down. So a blanket for your head. Lie down on your back. Knees bent, feet on the floor. And begin a pelvic tilt. So you're going to take these bones, hip points at the front of your pelvis, and you're going to kind of roll them towards the feet, and then roll back the other way, and you should feel your low back press into the floor, and then roll forward and back. Find your breath. See if you can use your breath, especially as you pull that low back down into the floor. That's a good place for your exhale. Couple more times. Keep going. Just notice how you feel here. And then the next time you tilt backward and you feel your low back come to the floor, push into your feet, lift yourself up, kind of roll up into a bridge, and then roll yourself back down. Tilt forward, tilt back, lift into that bridge, and roll yourself back down. Keep going. Notice what you're feeling in your body. Notice what your feet are doing. Can you find all 3 points, the big toe mound, the big pinky toe mound, and the center of the heel as you do this? Extend one leg long and draw the other knee into your chest. Pull the knee inward. It's slightly out from the center of your body. So you're not pulling towards center, you're pulling more toward your shoulder. But it's not super wide either. Push your knee into your hand and your hand into your knee. And then bend that other leg and come to a figure 4. Reach the knee away from your body. Breathe. And we're not lifting everything up right now. We're just focusing on pressing this knee away. And I want you to see if you can feel that space on the outside of your hip. And then bring both knees in. Hold with your hands on top of your knees. As you inhale, your elbows are going to straighten. As you exhale, your elbows bend and pull your knees a little closer to your chest. Inhale, let your arms come all the way out. Exhale, pull in. So you're only going as far out as your arms extend, and you're only coming in as far as your body allows you to go. Feel the breath. And then bring your feet to the floor. And this time you're going to swap legs. So the leg that was out before is now pulling in. The other leg is long. Draw the knee in gently towards the shoulder so you're not forcing anything. Feel your breath. And then resist, so push your knee into your hand into your knee. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath here. And then bend that long leg, bring the ankle across the knee. Reach this knee forward, away from your body. See if you can feel both sides of your pelvis on the floor. Maybe pull those toes in towards your shin. Stay with it until you can sense this outer hip. Good. Then bring your knees to your chest, hands on top of your knees, and we'll come back to this. Inhale, the arms extend. Exhale, pull the knees in. Feel this movement happen with your breath. One more. And then bring your feet to the floor. Lift your arms up, reach them overhead. Feel this nice full body stretch. Even if your elbows bend, that's perfectly fine. And then come back, center, and you're going to lift your feet so you're in an upside down table. So we're coming to dead bug. So once you get here, arms reaching toward the ceiling, pull your toes in a little bit so they're like you're planted on the wall. Find your breath and use the exhale to press the low back down into the floor. Couple of breaths like that. And then on your next exhale, your arm reaches up and your opposite leg reaches down. And then come back up and swap sides. Arm up and down. That other arm might want to go just like mine just did. Try and keep it still. Exhale as you do the movement. Inhale as you come back. Don't hold your breath. Last one. And then bring your feet to the floor and find some windshield wipers. Just feel that movement side to side. Now come center and hold on to your leg, one leg, doesn't matter which one, but you're pulling the knee, you're holding behind your thigh, just pulling gently in. So you're not pulling far in, but just supporting the leg. And then bring the toes towards your shins and lift the leg. So straighten the knee. And then bend the knee. Okay, so just bend and straighten a couple of times, keeping the toes pulling in. Just so you have the sense of the movement. And then this time, as you straighten the knee, you're going to point your foot. And then at the top, you're going to pull those toes in as you bend your knee and come down. Point the toes, straighten the knee. Pull the toes in and bend the knee. Reach, point, bend, and pull in. One more. Reach, point, bend, and pull in. Good. Put your foot down. Grab the other leg. So this is a nerve glide. So your sciatic nerve runs through the back of the piriformis muscle that's on the back side of your hip, and it comes down the leg. So one thing that, just pause for a minute and let me sit up and talk to you. So one thing, or there are three things that the nerve needs. It needs movement, it needs blood flow, and it needs space. So if the muscle is so tight that the nerve is not getting those three things, then that can cause some irritation. It can cause some sense of discomfort. Let's go to the other leg, and I want you to think about it this time. So just pull the toes in, and we'll do a couple bend and straighten this way. One more. And now, as you straighten the leg, point your toe. And then as you bend the knee, pull the toes towards your shin. Straighten and point. Bend and pull in. Straighten and point. And bend and pull in. One more. Good. All right, there's another nerve that goes down the leg, and it's a very similar movement, just a slight difference. So we're going to swap legs again. And we're going to straighten the leg, point the toes, and when you get to the top, you're going to turn the inside of your foot towards the center of your body. And then pull the toes back and bend. Point, straighten the leg, turn the foot inward. Pull the toes in, bend the knee, straighten, point. When you get to the top, turn that foot inward and then pull in to bend. Let's do one more. Straighten, turn inward, pull back, and bend. Good. Other leg, same thing. Point the toe and come straight with the leg. When you get to the top, turn that toe in towards the center line of your body. Pull the toes back and bend the knee. Point, straighten, turn inward, pull back and bend. Point, straighten, turn inward, pull back and bend. Point, straighten, turn inward, pull back on the toes, bend the knee. Let's do one more. Reach, turn in, and pull back and bend. Good. Now, press yourself up. You can rock and roll up or whatever you need to do to come over onto hands and knees. If you need a blanket under your knees, feel free to add it. And in table, we're going to find a cat-cow. So round the spine, press up. That's your exhale. As you inhale, let the belly drop. Pull the arms back, lift the chin. And just move with your breath here. 3 or 4 more times. Keep going. Good. Now come center and find a long spine so that you're not dropping your belly and you're not rounding up. You're a nice flat spine. And take your right foot back, curl your toes under, and just stretch the back of that leg. You might lean back a little bit. And then come center, lift the leg behind you. Try not to roll your pelvis. Try to keep that point of your hip reaching forward towards the floor. And then take your hand out in front of you, fingertips tinted. Find your balance. Reach that heel backward, and you can lift your arm. And you're going to feel yourself waver, so try and find your breath. Use that exhale to turn the lower abdominal muscles on. You'll probably feel all of them. Muscles around the sides of your waist, even the ones on the back. All of those core muscles. And put the hand down and put the foot down. Rock yourself side to side for a moment. Take the other leg back, tuck the toes under, just stretch through the back of that leg. Good. And come forward, lift the leg, find that long spine, find your exhale, feel all the muscles, all the way around your abdomen, your core, muscles on your back holding you up. Take the other hand out, find your fingertips, find your balance, reach through that heel and lift the arm, reach forward with the pinky. Use your breath. And then come down. Bring your knees slightly wide. Sink back, find a child's pose. Reach your arms forward. If you want your forehead on the floor, you can, or you can keep your forehead up off the floor to maybe find a little more rounding in your low back. And then walk your hands to one side. Feel that nice side stretch. Come back center. And go the other way. Stretching the side of the body. Come back to the center and pull yourself forward, back to table. And now take your knee, so your weight is going to shift just slightly. Try to keep your arm straight, but you're going to take your one knee and just lift it out to the side. Okay, I want you to really be mindful that you're not hiking your leg up, turning your pelvis sideways. You're just moving the leg in the hip socket, in and out. Maybe a slight pause at the top. Again, it's that same muscle on the side of your hip, sort of the side back of your hip. Can you find it? Can you identify which muscle is working here? And then swap sides. So the other leg comes up. Try to keep yourself centered. Try to keep your pelvis still, just moving the leg. Feel the work happening in the hip socket. Feel that muscle on the outside of your hip. Make sure you're breathing. Bring your leg down and sink back towards a slightly narrower child's pose, so your knees might not be quite so wide. And then as you pull forward, see if you can find a knee down plank. So without dropping, we're not dropping into a back bend here. Using the core to hold us up. Press back. Going at your own speed, back and forth. Use your breath. Feel the movement. And the next time you're forward, we're going to come all the way down to the floor. So if you've got your blanket under your knee, you might want to pull it out of the way. And you can use it at your head if you would like. We're going to come no. You don't want to use it at your head. Sorry. You're going to have to fix that. All right, so we came all the way down. We come all the way down onto the belly, hands beside the chest. And you're going to press up gently to a cobra. So it's a baby cobra. Just push the feet down, feel your glutes turn on. Find your tailbone. Can you reach towards the back of the mat? And then come down. One more. Push up. Lift up. Feel those muscles. Feel your pubic bone pulling forward. Feel the glutes turn on. And then come down. And now roll to your side. Grab your blanket and support your head. And if it's not enough, you can double it. And your arm's going to come out. You're in a bent knee position, so it's a little bit like a fetal position. This hand, top hand, can find purchase as it wants to so that it feels good. And we're just going to come to a clamshell. So this is the very same movement that we did on our hands and knees, where we're just moving from this hip joint. The thing that happens here is you want to roll back because that gives you more room. That gives you more space to move. But we're not interested in more space. We're interested in this muscle right here doing the work that it needs to do. Let's do about 4 or 5 more. And then lengthen your legs, come back onto your belly. Just slide the blanket out in front of you. Come back to your cobra. Find your feet, tuck your tailbone, lift up. Maybe you get a little more height this time, maybe not. And then back down. One more time, push yourself up. Turn those glutes on and back down. And grab your blanket to support your head, and you're going to roll to the other side. So my back is facing you. The top hand is supporting the movement. Knees are a soft bend. Lift that knee and down. Don't let yourself roll backward. As you lift this knee, you might pause for just a moment at the top. Feel this muscle right here on the back side of the hip. Turn on. Make sure you're breathing. And about 4 more. And if you've done this for a while, and this feels super easy to you, you can make this harder by coming up onto your elbow. I'll turn around so you can see. You can also do this up on your elbow here. And then as you lift the knee, you also lift the hip. So that's the more advanced version. And if you need more work, then you can do it that way instead of the other way. All right, turn over onto your belly, come up onto hands and knees, and make your way to downward facing dog. Press back, nice long spine. Maybe walk your dog here. Notice how those hips are feeling. And then walk your feet forward. Find your forward fold. And then push into your feet and lift yourself all the way up. I'm going to turn so I can see and you can see. Find your breath. Take a breath. Now, here in Tadasana, lift your arms up and sink back into chair pose. So once you get to chair, find your feet, feel yourself in the center, bring your hands to your heart, and we're going to pick up our right heel, find your balance, and then if you need to stay here, you can, but the next step would be to pick up your foot and cross it over your knee. So you're in this chair figure 4 position. You can see me wobbling, so find your breath. Find that exhale. Maybe find something to look at that's not moving. Now take this leg and step back. So the one that was on your knee is going to step back. And the back foot is angled just a little bit. Now straighten your front foot, front leg. Bring your hands to your waist. and hinge yourself forward. And don't go far. And then come right back up. Because what's going to want to happen is you're going to want to turn sideways as you hinge. And I want you to stay facing forward. Push into both feet. Hinge forward till you feel your hamstrings probably. And then push into your feet to come up. Hinge forward. Push to come up. One more. Hinge forward. Push yourself up and step back to Tadasana. Bring your arms up. Sink into chair. Hands to your heart. Now lift the left leg, the other one that you didn't do, whichever one that was. Find your balance. Lift that ankle over your knee. Sit back into this figure 4 chair. If you're wobbling, find your breath. Find your exhale. Look at something that's not moving. And then take that leg off the knee, step it back. Heel comes down. So it would normally be a warrior 1 position, but straighten that front leg. So you're still kind of on railroad tracks. Hip points facing forward, hands on your waist, both legs straight, not necessarily locked, they can be soft, and hinge and come up. So the movement is happening at the hips. It's not happening in your spine. Your spine is nice and long, just like you were doing a plank. Not moving the spine, not letting it round. Up and down. And one more. Push up and step forward. Find your breath. Now, grab your blocks, and I'm going to do this facing you so that you can see, but you're going to put your blocks at the front of your mat. And then you want to measure where do you need to be in order to put your heel on the blocks. Okay, so the blocks are stacked, one on top of each other. And then I'm going to turn sideways. Okay. All right, Tadasana. Lift your arms up. Bring your hands to your heart. Lift your right heel and then turn that leg open. This is the same movement that we've been doing. So it's not turning the pelvis, it's just taking the knee out until you feel this outer edge of your hip turn on. Good. Feel your breath. And now you're going to take that knee and you're going to lift it up. Okay, try not to have your heel in. Try to have it out just right below your knee. And here I'm going to turn sideways for you. So the knee is up. Good. And, whoops, I got myself out of position when I turned. So my knee is up. And then I'm going to straighten and put that heel on the blocks. Good. So now just notice what you're feeling in your hips. Are you catty-wampered? That's my mother's word. And see if you could bring these hip points level, parallel to the front edge of the mat. Hands can be on your waist, or they can be up, nice and tall. Pull the toes in, see what difference that makes. Bring your hands to your heart. Lift your knee, and we're just going to come to a modified warrior 3, so you're not going far. And if you need your toe on the floor, it can be there, or it can just be up. Try to keep this hip rolling down toward the mat instead of out and up. And you should feel the work that's happening in that standing leg hip. Lift yourself up, plant your foot. Back to Tadasana. Nice, tall reach. Good. Find your breath. Nice, tall reach, Tadasana. Bring your hands to your heart. Lift that left heel. Turn, so you're propped on your ankle. You're doing tree. There's not nearly as much balance required here, but reach that knee backwards without moving your pelvis until you feel that muscle in the hip. Turn on. Good. One more breath. And then lift the knee. Come up in front of you. Hopefully you can get your foot right below your knee. Find your balance. And now straighten and plant that heel on the blocks. Now notice the pelvis. Notice if one hip is hiked up. Try and get these hip points right in line with the front of the mat. Pull your toes up towards your shin. Good. Now lift the knee, bend, reach back, find where you need to be for this warrior three. Feel the work in that standing hip. Keep the other one pointed towards the mat. And then come up and find Tadasana. Take a breath. Feel your breath. Maybe your heart rate, maybe your breath is increased. Slow, easy exhales. Bringing that heart rate back down. Now we're going to replace the blocks and we're going to put either your chair or your stool. If putting your foot on the blocks felt like it was challenging, then I would either add a third block or get a stool, so something that would be in between this height and this height. Find your breath. And we're going to come to that same movement. So you might need to measure. Make sure you're in a good spot. Arms come up. Find that tree pose. And if you want a little more, you can bring the foot a little bit higher. Bring your hands to your heart. Bring the knee up. Lift it up a little bit more if you can. And then straighten the knee. Place the heel on the chair. And just notice what's happening in your hips. Maybe play with them a little bit. So feel what happens if you push down into the standing leg. Sometimes it will pull this hip out. Okay? There's nothing wrong with pushing down, but once you're pushed down and you've got this length, can you then bring that sitting bone of the lifted leg back towards the floor so that you're looking for this straight line across the front of your pelvis. Hip point to hip point. Maybe notice your foot push into your big toe mound. And hands can be up, they can be out, they can be here. The next movement is to bring the knee up. Maybe your hands want to come back for this warrior three. Maybe you go a little deeper, maybe you don't. Your choice. And And then foot to the floor. And come up. Take a breath. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your hips are starting to feel. And we'll come to the other side. So nice, tall Tadasana, reaching. Feel the length. Find your tree pose, whether you're still propped or whether you want to come a little bit higher. Find your balance. And then lift the knee. Pause for a moment. Maybe lift it a little bit higher. Straighten the leg. Plant the heel in the chair. Press through that big toe mound. Find where you want your arms. Any place that feels good for you. And then lift the leg. Straighten towards the back. Hinge at the hip. Come back for your warrior three. Keep this hip down towards the floor. If you need the chair, it's right there. Put your hands on it. And then lift up and foot to the floor. Find your breath. Now, while we have the chair right here at the top of our mat, we're going to use the chair for a twist. So the seat is towards the mat, just so you haven't changed anything. And you're going to sit in the chair, and then you're going to turn towards the side of the chair. Doesn't matter which side, we'll do both. And then you're going to take both hands and put them on the back of the chair. Find your breath. Feel your sitting bones sinking down. Feel your feet on the floor. Now, the hand that's at the back is going to push slightly, while the hand at the front is going to pull slightly. And then you can take your head and turn. Now notice this back shoulder especially. See if you can reach it downward. And then notice the front one, as it hiked up, pull the shoulders down. Breathe. And release. And then come to the front. And you're going to go all the way around to the other side. So you'll be able to see from the back this time. Feet on the floor. Hands to the back of the chair. Nice tall spine. This hand in the back is going to push while the one in the front pulls. And it's gentle. You're not trying to crank super hard. You see how my shoulder comes up? I want to bring it down. Bring the front one down as well. And I've got a little bit more room to turn. You turn your head, look back over that back shoulder. And then come back to your legs. Turn yourself back to the front of the chair. And come up, and you can move your chair out of the way. And we're going to come all the way down onto the floor. So just make your way down any way you would like. Blanket under your head if you like one. Roll onto your back. Take one leg out and the other leg in. Bring your arms out to a T. And then take that knee that's bent, reach it across your body. Let your pelvis roll to wherever you go. And your leg might not come to the floor because my shoulders are on the floor. So it limits how far I can turn in this twist. Push into that long leg, press it down into the mat. See if that gives you a little more space. And then roll back center. You might feel like you got crooked, so square yourself up. Bring the other leg down, opposite leg up. Find your breath. And then roll across your body. Let your pelvis lift. Maybe your shoulders stay on the floor, which means your leg's probably not going to go as far. And then find that long leg, push down into the floor. Maybe you get a little more twist there. Feel your breath. And then come back and bring your knees up to your chest. Rock yourself side to side. Bring your feet to the floor. Arms anywhere that's comfortable. Find some windshield wipers. Do a few here, wherever you are. And then we're going to take our feet really wide on the mat and find those windshield wipers in a little bit of a different position. And then find center. Walk your feet in. Lengthen your spine. Let your feet roll open. Adjust your shoulder blades any way you need them. Adjust your blanket. And let yourself find Shavasana. And as you're here, scan through your body. Notice how your hips feel, how the outsides of your hips feel, how your thighs feel, the weight of your pelvis, the weight of your legs on the floor. Settle into rest. Now, if you need a longer Shavasana, you're welcome to stay right here. If you're ready to come up, bend your knees, roll over and press yourself up to seated. Take a moment to notice what you feel in your hips. Bring your hands to your heart. Take an easy inhale and bow forward with a grateful heart. Namaste.